The world in which we hunt is filled with beasts and monsters which give both awe and wonder in witnessing them live their lives. Yet, it is the world around them which can grant the same amazement if we look close enough. Not every wonder is a towering and intimidating foe, but all of them have adapted in extraordinary ways to their environment and habitat. With the new world open for hunters new and veteran, I have embarked upon a grand journey to study, record, and observe the land in which such monsters call home. Join me, the SurvivalVis, upon this great journey of discovery and study to learn the secrets of the incredible wilds of the New World. To reach our first destination of the wilds of the New World, we must only take a few steps outside the main gates of Epsiode to find it. Before us lies the ancient forest. At the center of this living, sprawling forest lies an incredible marvel of nature. Grown over centuries and eons, this mighty tree, within the very core of the forest, is the foundation for all life within. Beasts both large and small live amongst its many branches and winding roots below. With how large and encompassing the tree is, and how vast the forest has grown around it, we will begin tackling the ancient forest in a few broken episodes, each focusing upon a region within the vast habitat. To begin, we will begin our focus upon the southern reaches of the forest, along the coastline where the land meets the sea. Even here, under wide skies and on open plains, we can find life both bountiful and incredibly diverse. As the land slopes down towards the water, we can catch sight of the first of a remarkable species taking rest along the shoreline. These bipedal herbivores are known as Castordons. Highly territorial in nature, we will try to keep a distance to observe and watch their time here. Displaying their sexual dimorphism, the males of the species grow larger with a more pronounced scalp to engage in fights to secure mates and territory. The females, smaller and dimmer in color, may relax and forage as the males keep watch and stand ever vigilant for them. Should anything near a small herd of Castordons, they will call out an alarm to the intruder. The males spring forward, becoming shields for the females to remain behind as they try to bluff and intimidate their encroaching foes. Using a strong bash against the ground to stir dust and create noise, the males act together to thwart would-be predators from thinking they found themselves an easy meal. Though working on the smaller carnivores, the Castordon fall towards the bottom of the long food chain here in the ancient forest. Their size far outmatched by even some of the smaller of the monsters which call the forest their home. As we continue to follow the trails westward, we spot another brightly colored creature ahead. These pink-downed birds are commonly called Bliss Bells. A common avian found across the ancient forest, the Bliss Bells have adapted to the diet of a local plant called red pits very well. Picking up the pigment of these plants with it being the main staple of their diet, the Bliss Bell beak is a perfectly evolved tool to crack and enjoy the cores of the red pits they feast on. Birds of the ancient forest have few predators with their size, being far too small a meal for many of the flying beasts within the forest. Those that may find the Bliss Bells appetizing, though, must risk being in the open skies to hunt them. To avoid some predators, many herbivores have learned to go where even larger ones hunt. Sometimes being tiny has tremendous advantages. If one is quiet and careful when visiting the ancient forest, you could easily come across these next small creatures foraging out in tucked away nooks or in the open. These cute little herbivores are known as shepherd hares. Using their large ears as an alarm system, the hares prefer to forage out in the open if possible, as to avoid their main predators who hide from the wide open skies. The extra openness allows their eyes to catch any movement quite easily, making them able to quickly flee from any who come too close to their hares. Thanks to the slender bodies, the shepherd hare can easily navigate through thick underbrush many of its predators cannot penetrate through. It is thanks to this that many who travel the ancient forest will be able to find these timid creatures in spots where other creatures are just too large to reach. If one looks to the skies across the New World, They'll constantly witness dark shadows circling above. These scavengers are known as vultures and inhabit every biome within the New World. Their keen eyesight and sense of smell allows them to quickly hone in on where a monster carcass may be and scavenge the remains. Flocking in vast numbers, their vultures are a very bold species when it comes to food. Hunters have often reported being able to walk among an entire flock of these birds once they planted to feast on a fresh kill. Commonly used by hunters in the New World to track their quarry, one only has to look into the sky to see a circling flock of vultures to know a fresh monster kill is nearby. When not drawn in by food though, there are vultures just as timid as the Bliss Bells, however, not featuring quite as dazzling in plumage as their avian cousin. As we come to the vast coastal plain south of the forest, we come across the first monster many hunters ever see in their careers, the majestic and tranquil Aptonoth. These herbivorous herd animals are a staple of the food chain within the New World and the Old as well. The main diet for many of the carnivores of the entire world, Aptonoth is a fairly easy meal for many monsters and hunters alike. Despite the appearances of their large tails, the Aptonoth rarely use it as a means of self-defense. Theorized to be from an ancestor, the protruding spikes at the tip have little range of motion except as an Aptonoth flees, perhaps evolving as a deterrent to any which give the animals chase. Instead, these fierce-sized herbivores rely on the mass and the dominant head crest to ram and lunge at provoking foes. Theorized to be mostly used for mating calls or displays, the long head crest grows with the Aptonoth through its entire lifespan. With rather lackluster means of self-defense against the monsters that share the biomes it glazes in, numbers have become the Aptonoth's best means of survival. It is not uncommon to find massive herds of Aptonoth glazing, a bait for many flying monsters out across the world. Yet, a monster can only eat so much, and when one may fall prey, many others can flee and continue on, perpetuating the cycle of hunter and hunted within the New World. As we continue west away from the coast, we come to a narrow pass leading north into the forest. It is along this route we catch sight of another of the New World's many organisms. Low to the ground, hunters rushing along this route may overlook those traveling alongside them with bounding leaps. These insects are known as emperor hoppers. A staple food source for many birds and other endemic life of the New World, the hoppers generally live in hidden-away reaches such as a path like this. It is due to their crown-like heads and mantle-like wings which these insects have received their name. Some hunters of the New World have even captured them and kept them as pets within their living quarters in Estate. A rare sight within the ancient forest, remote pools and ponds may host these piscine known as gazhao. While common among the wild spiral wastes, these long-bodied fish are territorial and often form packs to defend their territory. Working anywhere from groups of 2 up to even 8, the gazhao are a heavily muscled piscine often hunted for the smooth, waterproof skin. Using the barbels attached to their jaws, gazhao mainly feast on shellfish and other bottom-dwelling organisms in the waters they reside in. Commonly known to attack by lunging for intruders when they near their waters, gazhao have a tendency to beach themselves on land with their zealousness. Easily distinguished by their row of dorsal fins and streamlined bodies, it is recommended not to swim in waters where these piscine live, as not to be overwhelmed if there is a large pack of them present. The gazhao, however, are not the only oddities we find in this part of the forest, for just up the hill above the pond hops another curious creature. Easily seen by their bright yellow skin, these amphibians are paratoads. Do not be fooled into thinking the bright yellow is meant for mating. No, that is nature's means of telling predators to avoid trying to dine on this meal. The reason for this is how the paratoad received its name. Producing a paralyzing toxin within its body, the paratoad stores this as a dense gas within a special gland inside itself. When threatened, the toad releases this gas as a thick yellow cloud of vapor around itself. Coming into contact with this highly potent agent can cause even the largest of monsters to lose muscle control for several seconds, allowing the toad to escape. Crafty hunters in the New World have learned to use this creature in their hunts, providing them with a way to halt an angry monster in its tracks, if they are careful. It is not known if the toad produces this gas from its diet or as a waste product, but it is highly advised to avoid physical contact with this living, paralytic blob. Now that we have traveled along the southern tips and reaches of the forest, we are prepared to venture further inland, starting to see the dense vegetation and gigantic roots which give the entire forest its support to grow. Within these shaded lowlands, we'll seek out and study the monsters both small and towering which reside here, witnessing the many ways the beasts of the New World have adapted to their environment for means of both hunting and survival.